once again to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. He's one of the co-founders of the LS Financial Group. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. Len Strickler, how you doing this week, my friend?
Doing great, Spike. Good to see you again.
Excellent, excellent. We've got a wonderful program we have put together. We want to talk about what you need to do during the different stages of your retirement planning. 20 years out, 10 years out, 5 years, 1 year from retirement. And
Absolutely.
What do we need to be thinking about?
Yep.
First, Len, on our radio show that we do weekly here on the weekends as well, we do a full hour. We've talked about the fact that there was an Allianz study that says a lot of Americans today are thinking that retirement is more of a gradual shift than jumping off into those every day as a Saturday. Would you agree with that, with people who are coming to your workshops, coming into the office?
Yes, absolutely, Spike. We really do see that. You know, it used to be you had the pension. You know, my grandmother worked at Westinghouse for 42 years, right? She got a pension and probably a dinner or something, or a watch. But nowadays, you know, people are they're gradually just doing it. I mean, a lot of folks, for various reasons, some people might, need the extra money, right? Maybe got hit pretty hard in some of the market downturns. But we are seeing folks that even are working, maybe at a company and they're getting ready to retire, but they want them to come back as a consultant. And so they'll continue to work. So, yeah, we're seeing that quite often, actually.
Yeah. And is it also a little bit from something we've talked about a lot that people are they're living longer? So we're maybe thinking, hey, I don't know if I've saved enough.
Absolutely.
Maybe I just need to keep working. Like, people don't know if they're going to be able to stop working at all.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, with medical advances, right? I mean, I know you and I have talked before, in my family, my new wife, Carolina, her mother just had her 100th birthday in January. And I know you were telling me that you have some aunts, right?
My grandmothers had lived well into their mid-90s. In fact, I had just read a story recently of a woman in Houston who reached her 115th birthday.
No way.
Yes.
Now that's really interesting.
The youngster that lives with her is her 94-year-old daughter.
Oh, my goodness. That's incredible.
So how do you know if you've saved enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is why it's a lot harder for people to just go at 64 or 65. I'm out of here. I'm no longer going to be working because we don't know if we've saved enough, right, Len?
You know, it's funny. In my workshops, we do a lot of workshops around the area. As a matter of fact, folks, you can go to our website, lsfcapital.com. That's lsfcapital.com. And you can look at the events tab, and you'll see we've got a number of workshops all around the South Florida area. But I ask in that workshop, I'll say to folks, what is it that keeps you up at night? Now, folks, about your retirement.
Yeah.
Right? And they get a little laugh out of that. But anyway, but every time say, will my money go the distance? Do I have enough money to go the distance, So it is. And the surveys that have been put out by the banks, that is the #1 concern about retirees. I had a little guy in the back of the room, right? It's this funny story. And he just raised his hand. He was a shy little guy, raised his hand. And I said, well, what keeps you guys up at night? And he goes, getting up to pee twice a night. I said, oh, my goodness. But, hey, listen, I don't know. Some of our demographic understands that, right? But at any rate, the advances and will my money go the distance? And that's one of the reasons that we want to do a complete plan for folks.
Right. And I did want to talk about that because we have had some changes. We've discussed it on a couple of other of the television programs. But you really wanted to stress the holistic approach.
Correct.
The holistic planning approach. You've got some growth with some younger advisors. Art's going to be joining us in some programs in the upcoming weeks as well. But you're really doing a full written plan. Not that you weren't before, but there's just added elements to it now.
Absolutely. And the thing now, what folks have to, in retirement, what they're concerned about most with Spike now is income. When you're young, you're working, you're putting into that 401k. Most of the folks have 401ks or some type of plan like that. You're in the accumulation stage, right? And that's where you want a return on your money. Okay? You want the ROI. And that's where most advisors, by the way, have been trained. They've been trained right there. And Art and I are one, so we know. But because it keeps you in the market, right? But the problem is when you get to the top here at retirement, the paradigm shifts. You're now in the distribution phase, right? Now we got to be concerned. You want a return of your money. So an income plan is very, very important, much different than going in and getting a stockbroker to give you, a whole series of stocks and giving you a plan that way. We want to make sure that we know, what do you want that money to do, right? What are your goals? What do you want to do in retirement? Do you want to travel? Do you want to, we got some stories of great folks that said they want to go around the world on a cruise. Well, we got a plan for that.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we also were just talking about right before the show, we know that the markets change through many different times and cycles, and that's literally what the markets are supposed to do. They're cyclical, but we've recently seen how much the market pulled back a few weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're a year or so, 2 years away from retirement, isn't this kind of dangerous? Isn't the market dictating when you're able to retire?
That's correct. We talk about the red zone. We talk about 5 years before retirement, 5 years in, and 5 years on the other side. You absolutely cannot take those losses. It'll kill you, right? Coming back down here, we're talking about distribution. Right. There's a thing called sequence of returns. And if you get negatives in those first few years, Spike, it's going to kill you. The longevity, it can literally knock off, maybe 8 to 10 years of your longevity. It's amazing. Right.
Well, I'm excited to talk about what we're going to do on today's program. We're going to talk about those different stages of retirement planning. And so we'll make the assumption mathematically that we're going to retire around 65 or 66. We know some people are able to retire earlier. Some people want to continue working as long as they can. But let's make the assumption out there we're going to retire around our mid-60s. And so I'd like to go 20 years back and 10 years back and 5 years back, and sort of from your point of view, what sort of things should we be thinking about and what sort of things are people missing along the way? But before we do that, I know you're not going to let me get out to commercial break. What is up in front of you?
This is my new book called Way of the Financial Warrior. Folks, I'm excited about this book. Many of you know, if you listen to my radio and the TV with Spike and I'm a 6th-degree black belt, also an airborne ranger. And, I beat my body up pretty good over the years. But what I did was I took the martial arts disciplines, some of the concepts that I learned in the martial arts, and I wanted to make it simple. I wanted to put it in terms that folks could understand. So it's kind of a really neat book. You go through the book, you get your white belt, then you go to the next chapter. If you pass the test in the dojo, you'll get your next belt. And by the end, you're going to be a financial black belt.
So, folks, you can call the phone number on the bottom of the screen. When you make an appointment to come in and talk with Len Strickler and the team of the LSF Capital Group, you can also get a complimentary copy of Len's book, Way of the Financial Warrior. It starts very simply with a phone call. Folks are standing by right now to schedule that appointment for you. Claim your free portfolio review and written financial plan from Len Strickler and the team. 844-299-0355. What should be on your mind if you're 20 years out from retirement? When we get back, right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler of the LSF Capital Team, retirement planning team right here in South Florida. Talking how a lot of Americans today are feeling like they're either going to have to work longer, save a lot more, maybe even do consulting, continue to work part-time. Do you have any examples of folks who've come into the office?
I'm glad you asked that, Spike. We actually do. We had one recently, probably about a week ago. We had a lady come in, very professional lady. She was in the software world, right? Development of software. Had a nice salary, okay? And so she came in. She had some assets, right, that she had saved up, somewhat over $1 million, maybe $1.8 million. But our concern was, will my money go the distance, and when can I retire? And so it was interesting. She wanted us to do a plan for her, but she wanted us to do a plan in phases for her. So, Len, what would happen if I retire at 65 with what I have, and I'm working another, I think she said 3 years, factor that in, could I retire then? Now, what would happen if I go, because I have an opportunity to be a consultant for this company after I retire.
Okay.
And that we see that quite often.
Yeah.
So she could go another, whatever, 5 years or so. I want you to plan for that. So she wanted kind of a phased approach. So talking about that gradual, the way folks are looking at gradually getting out of retirement now. And so we did a plan. We did, actually did 3 plans for her. And, she was really happy. But the thing is, she could have actually retired if she wanted to, right after she got done that, 3 years.
So what do you think was driving it? Was it the worry of running out of money, or that she likes what she's doing?
She likes what she's doing. She did. She really likes it. And we find that. We've had a couple of people recently that they just enjoy what they're doing. They want to stay doing it.
Yeah. The flip side of that is that, again, from the Allianz study, a lot of Americans thinking they're going to need to work longer. 80% of those who are near retirement age said that they think that working another year or 2 would help them ensure their retirement. It makes a lot of sense. But there's also times when the industry doesn't allow you to keep working. Perhaps you get phased out. So I do worry about people saying, oh, I'm just going to keep working and working and working. What if the career isn't there, Len? Or what if, again, the markets dictate to us? Is it also just as important to come in and kind of get an idea of where you're at right now?
Absolutely. You always want to know where you are. I mean, it's important, right? I mean, folks will plan their vacation more than they will their retirement. And I don't know what... They're kind of afraid. Maybe they didn't do it right. They don't have enough money. Some people are scared to even look, right? Especially with the market downturns we've had. But, you want to make sure you have a plan. You need to know where you are.
All right. Well, speaking of planning, we know that life gets in the way. There's lots of different obstacles and stages, and sometimes there's life events that happen. But if we wanted to retire, let's say around our mid-60s, 20 years out from retirement, puts us in our mid-40s. What's going on in our lives? Are people taking as much advantage of retirement planning as they should?
They should. They really should. Like I said, it's always good to come in, and we tell folks now today even to come in, every 2 times a year. Used to be we did annual reviews. Nowadays, because things change so much. But yeah, you have folks in that range right now that you were talking about. That life happens. I mean, you got kids. They may be going to college, right? And you know how that goes.
Yeah, yeah.
You have unexpected things happen. I mean, we see divorces, right? And that can be really devastating to a plan.
Mentally and financially.
Absolutely, yeah, emotionally and financially. Sometimes we say that we become consultants, we become priests, we become counselors, a little bit of everything. But yeah, so that life happens, but you still need to know where you are. And kind of plan for these things. It's important.
But that's sometimes when that retirement planning can get off track. You move jobs, you go through a divorce, you go through a health scare, or you're trying to take care of the family and enjoy things like vacations and preparing the kids and so forth for college. And it's difficult to know where exactly are you supposed to appropriate your own funds. And maybe sometimes sitting down with a financial coach, somebody could say, hey, it's great to save for the college, but are you also saving for yourself? I mean, you're not going to be able to make that compound interest time up back in your 60s, can you, Len?
No, that's the problem, because the whole idea of compounding is it's time value of money. And so, yeah, when you get up in that retirement age, that's why, again, like you said, Spike, it's so important to plan those things out and have a discussion. Maybe the kids have to work, get a job. Maybe they go to Olive Garden, get a whatever they got to do.
Let's see if we can get an Olive Garden sponsorship.
Right. That they got to help. The reason I say that is we just had that happen. It's on top of my mind. And literally, their son was going to get a job at Olive Garden, going to FSU. It's kind of funny, but anyway. So yeah, you got to make those decisions.
It's balancing and it's juggling, and you don't mind. Mid-40s, late 40s, somebody giving you a call and say, hey, I'd really like to get ahead of this. I'm 20 years out, but this is a good time to start?
I love that. I mean, that's the folks that we really love. I love working with all of them, right? But I think that's really smart. Somebody that says, look, I know I need help. This is not what I do, right? I mean, think about it. Some of the worst are doctors, an attorney. I mean, they do doctoring. They're busy, they're surgeons, whatever.
They're smart, highly educated, very busy people, right?
But many of them have not even thought about their financial situation. And so, yeah, you got to get some help.
Yeah. Let's bring it in a little bit closer. Let's say we're 10 years out from retirement. Now, this is actually today the current Gen X generation. They're the next ones on the stepping stone to being able to be retired. If we're in our mid-50s, 10 years out from retirement, what should we be thinking about here?
Well, again, now you're getting closer, right? You're getting a little bit closer to that red zone, right? 55 or so, we're getting closer. So now we have to start thinking about protection, all right, of that money. In other words, you can't, again, lose money. The name of our show, right? Let's talk safe money. But the idea now is let's get a portion of that money in a safe place, right, where you can never lose money, right? We've got some vehicles, if you will, that when the market goes up, you get to share in it. But when it goes down, you just stay and hold. You go sideways, and it goes back up, and it's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. But we usually teach, whatever your age is, if you're 55 years old, you should have 55% of that money in a safe place where you cannot lose principal. Now, the rest of the money, we can go ahead and put it in the market, right? Because we're not against the market, but we're just saying that you've got to have a portion of that money safe. I kind of did a book with contributing author, if you will, with 𝗷𝗵𝙁, who's an economist, well-known economist, speaker, and the book was called Paychecks and Playchecks. So we want to make sure we get your paycheck covered, folks, your floor. You got to cover that floor, those expenses. And then after that, go ahead and play, whatever you want to do. Yeah. But that at that point in time, we've got to get a portion of that money safe.
In our 50s here as well, though, are you seeing enough people taking advantage of those catch-up contributions in their retirement plans? While we do want to protect some of this before we're getting to retirement, should we also be loading up as much as we can in the retirement accounts, or do you prefer using instruments, vehicles outside of the retirement accounts? Or maybe a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I mean, it depends on the individual, but if they're getting a match, we always tell folks, look, that's free money. Take the match, right? But we probably could do better with the money, the other portion of their money. We could probably do better with it. That's what we want to do a plan around. We want to see what we can do with that money. Because a lot of times in these 401k plans within your companies, they may have somebody at Fidelity or Vanguard, and they're not really an advisor that's looking after them and like we do, okay? They may say, okay, put your funds here. You can go online and you can do with it. This is a safe one. This is a mutual fund. And a lot of times those mutual funds, Spike, have a lot of fees in them. It's another thing that'll take away that longevity of your money. Those fees will eat you alive.
Right. And this is also important to know how you're allocated.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is that last 10 years before retirement. Do you mind doing a review on people's 401ks or whatever they're using, even that 10 years out from retirement?
Absolutely. No, that's great. I mean, that's exactly when we should be looking. We need to take a look at it and see where you are. And maybe, and again, what we do a lot of times, they'll bring in whether they're allowed to invest within their, if it's Fidelity, Vanguard, Envoy, whoever it is, we'll show them, hey, look, go ahead and invest, right? But here's where it's a better place for you to put it. So we'll help them with that. We'll guide them. And a lot of people come in, Spike. I've had people come in and they have a 401k. They're busy working, doing their thing. They said, Len, I didn't even know it was in the market. I didn't even know where that money was. They really don't. They don't realize they could lose that money. They look at it as a pension, but it's not a pension like it used to be. You're in control of that money now.
You're in control of that money, and that's the money that you could possibly turn into your own private pension.
Right. Or you could possibly lose.
Or you could lose a lot of it. Folks, call the phone number down here on the bottom of the screen. Let's get you started on your own complimentary portfolio review and your own written financial plan for retirement. Dial that number down there. There are folks standing by right now. They will schedule an appointment for you. When you schedule that appointment, you'll also get a complimentary copy of Len's new book, Way of the Financial Warrior. He'll sign it for you. Maybe even he'll do a high leg kick for you.
That ain't happening no more.
You're going to have to stretch out for that one. Folks, more Let's Talk Safe Money. What do you need to be thinking about if you're 5 years and that last year right before retirement? When we get back right after this.
Better is just better. Wouldn't you agree? It's the American way, from a better house to better careers to a better education for our kids. Americans strive for better. So when it comes to your retirement and retirement planning, what could better mean to you? Better income? better lifestyle, better solutions? Find out what a better retirement could be like for you. Call this number for your own complimentary portfolio review and written financial plan, or scan the QR code below. It's your retirement and your opportunity for better.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler of LSF Capital. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. We're talking about what you need to be thinking about, our viewers. If you're 20 years out from retirement, 10 years, now we're going to bring it in even closer. 5 years from retirement. And again, we're making the assumption we want to retire around 65, 66. So we're at, let's say, 60 years old. What do we need to be thinking about here?
Again, we want to make sure that we have a portion of that money safe. You know, I'm going to preach this over and over, you know.
But how do we get it safe if it's in the work plan?
Well, what we want to look at now, okay, now I'm going to use the A word.
Don't
you
do
always
it.
do.
Don't
You
do
always.
it. I don't need the FCC. Which A word are you talking about, Len?
Annuities. Annuities.
Okay.
All right. These today, these tools that we use today, Spike, they're not like your grandfather's annuity. These are really coming a long way, okay? The market for these is huge. They're fixed indexed annuities. There's also fixed annuities. The key is you want to make sure you're in the right design. We do not do variable annuities because variable annuities put you right back in the market. And we don't want you losing money. You've got to have a portion of that money tightened up now. We got to get it really safe. So the annuities is a very good tool, depending on what you want. Some folks say they want a guaranteed lifetime income, just like Social Security. Social Security is nothing more than an annuity, right? If you won the lottery and you get a payout, it's nothing more than an annuity. I mean, you did some history. You blew me away.
We went back. So not only did annuities go all the way back to the Roman Empire, it went all the way back to Babylon. We were talking about 3000 BC, and it was talking about a lifetime payout for service to the government and to the soldiers. Unbelievable. So this is not something new. No. But you're also saying that today's annuities are not my grandfather's Oldsmobile.
Right. There you go. You remember that commercial? Yeah. But no, they are. They're different now. I mean, with a fixed index annuity, you get to share with the indexes, okay? So there's various indexes that we can choose from, right? And so you either go up, like I said before, with this vehicle, or you go sideways. You're not going to lose any money. And that's really what we want now that we're getting closer and we're getting tighter. You may have an annuity. There's fixed annuities. Right now, we know that rates are high, right? The Fed has got the rates up. So right now, you could get a fixed annuity, I don't know, maybe 5 years paying over 5%, 5.5%, something maybe. But I mean, so good time if you want. It's like a CD, right? But it's tax deferred. But it's a beautiful thing. So you can get fit. We have folks that are coming in, they just want a fixed annuity. But the fixed index annuities, they're also very popular. And inside some of these, Spike, there's some riders in there for long-term care. And I don't know if you know this, I know you do, but long-term care, if you tried to buy it at our age, oh my goodness.
Yeah, the individual policy is very, very expensive today.
So they've designed this into these plans now.
Yeah. Yeah, so to have something so that it can work as an annuity function to pay you out lifetime payments, or you can turn on the long-term care rider. Are you able to do both? What if you've turned on income and then eventually you need long-term care? Or do we need to have different kinds of policies?
No, well, what happens is, just an example, they're all, you know, there's different products out there, but if you turn on the income, let's say you're getting income of $20,000 a year, whatever, from the annuity. You've turned it on. Once you turn it on, you get that the rest of your life. But what happens is if you get you have 6 things daily living, okay? If you can't do 2 of those things of daily living, activities of daily living, you get it signed by a doctor, that will double. So instead of getting the $20,000, you'll get $40,000. Let me tell you, you know my story with my wife, right? Marcia, bless her heart. She got frontal temporal dementia, came healthy as anything. Came down as kind of the same disease as Bruce Willis has. And God love her, she was gone in 6 years. But one place I had her, Spike, was $9,600 a month. I mean, you think about it, it's times 12 times 6.5 years, it's a lot of money. So back then, and I did have annuities, by the way. I do eat my own dog food, so you know, we do practice what we preach. But back then, they didn't have these. I didn't have that option, right? So I had to cash these things in to help pay for her care. Right. So today, you know, there is some options.
So what we're talking about, in fact, is starting to insure, almost in a way, using insurance tools to insure your nest egg. I mean, we do it for our homes, we do it for our automobiles, and now you want to insure your wealth, your savings, and it's protecting it and also sort of leveraging what you have. So hopefully with healthcare costs, you're not literally paying dollar for dollar.
Right.
Like, you know, if it costs $100,000 of care, we're hoping we can find a policy of some sort to help you pay 2/3 of that. Because if you're paying it straight out of your pocket, how quickly can you run out of a nest egg of $500,000 or $1 million?
I can tell you.
Yeah. Lastly here, let's bring it in. We're within that first year of retirement. We can see the end zone. We can see the goal right there. Do we automatically turn on Social Security or the pension or send that boss to the note, I'm out of here, leave me alone?
No, I better not do that yet, right? You need to come see me first, right? You need to come see our team. Really, we're talking about this holistic plan, right? Hopefully we've been working with you along the way, right? But if you come in now, right, you still want to come in, folks, and before you tell the boss to go, you know.
Well, and some automatics, like people say, all right, well, I know I'm going to retire, so I'm going to automatically turn on the Social Security.
Right.
You could have another 3 or 4 years of growth if you don't need that income right away.
That's right. As a matter of fact, the more you wait, you get an 8% increase, okay? And that's not bad. You know, it's 8% that you're going to get. And again, the Social Security, we get this question a lot, when do I take it? Well, again, it depends. People hate this answer. But it really does. It depends on your health, right? So you may have things in the family. I had a guy not long ago that he said, Len, there's a disease in our family with the men that the men have never lived, I mean, all the way back to like 65 maybe a little longer, but that's it. He said, I said, well, then you ought to take your Social Security now. I mean, really. He took his, I said, take it at 62. But the majority of people, Spike, believe it or not, the statistics take that at 62. And they don't understand that they could wait. We want to take that Social Security bucket, because if you're married, okay, and let's say the age is maybe 83, that I think it is today for males, life expectancy, you've got about $1 million sitting there in a bucket. We got to figure out how to take that, okay, and put it into this holistic plan.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we can do for our viewers. Len, thank you so much. I'll see you on the radio mic in a little while as well. Folks, you can call and get started on your own complimentary, no-cost written financial plan. Let's do that portfolio review, see how much risk you're taking. Do you know where you're at in the different stages of your own retirement? Let us help you figure out what you need to be thinking about right now. Thank you so much for watching Let's Talk Safe Money with Len Strickler. Call that phone number, get your review. We'll be back next week.